Chapter 1. An American in London. Henry Adams lived in San Francisco. He was a young man, 27 years old. He worked in a busy office. He was good at his job. People thought he had a good future. He was a single man. He felt happy with his life. He enjoyed his quiet routines. He liked his independence. Every Saturday afternoon, Henry did not work. He loved to go sailing. He had a small sailboat. He sailed on San Francisco Bay. The bay was often beautiful. The sun shone on the water. The air was fresh. He felt free when he was on the water. One Saturday afternoon, Henry sailed his boat. He went too far from the shore. The wind grew very strong. It was a powerful afternoon wind. The wind pushed his sailboat. It pushed it out of the bay. The boat went into the vast Pacific Ocean. Henry was lost. He saw no land. He felt very small and alone in the big sea. Fear started to grow inside him. Night fell quickly. The air became cold. Henry saw no other ships. He lost all hope of rescue. He thought his life would end there. But then a light appeared. It was a small British ship. It was a brig. The brig saw Henry's small boat. The kind sailors took him on board. Henry was very grateful. He was safe from the ocean's dangers. The brig was sailing towards London. The journey was long. It was also very stormy. Big waves hit the ship. The wind howled loudly. Henry worked as a sailor during the voyage. He worked hard to pay for his trip. He cleaned the deck every day. He helped with the sails. He learned how to tie knots. It was a difficult but necessary job. When Henry finally arrived in London, his clothes were old. They were dirty and worn out. He had only £1 in his pocket. This was all his money. He used the pound to buy food. He also found a cheap place to sleep. He ate a simple meal. He slept for 24 hours. He was very tired after the long journey. He felt a little better after resting. For the next 24 hours, Henry did not eat. He did not sleep either. He walked the streets of London. He looked for a job. He looked for any way to earn money. He felt very hungry again. His stomach made noises. He felt weak from hunger. He needed food desperately. It was about 10 o'clock the next morning. Henry walked along Portland Place. He saw a child walking. The child held a large, ripe pear. The child ate one small bite. Then the child threw the pear onto the street. The pear rolled near Henry's feet. It was still mostly whole. Henry stopped walking. He looked at the pear with hungry eyes. He wanted that pear very much. His hunger was painful. He tried to pick it up, but every time he moved, someone walked past. The person looked at him. Henry felt embarrassed. He quickly turned his head away. He waited for the person to pass. He tried again and again to get the pear, but each time someone saw him. He felt desperate. He was so hungry that he could not think clearly. Henry decided to pick up the pear. He would not care what people thought. At that exact moment, a window opened behind him. It was a window in a large house. A gentleman spoke from the window. He said, "Come in here, please." Henry was very surprised. He did not expect anyone to speak to him. A servant opened the door. The servant wore a nice uniform. He looked very formal. The servant led Henry inside. He took Henry to a beautiful room. The room was large. It had expensive furniture. Henry looked around in wonder. He felt very confused about why he was there. Two old gentlemen sat in the room. They were talking to each other. They seemed to be discussing something important. Their breakfast was still on the table. There was toast, eggs, and tea. Henry was extremely hungry. He stared at their breakfast. His eyes did not leave the food. He wished he could eat some of it. His stomach growled quietly. Henry later learned about a secret. The two gentlemen had made a bet. They made this bet a few days before. Henry knew nothing about the bet at that time. He would learn all the details later. The gentleman looked at Henry with keen interest. They had been waiting for someone like him. Chapter 2. The Curious Wager. The two old gentlemen were brothers. They lived in the same grand house. For several days they argued about a strange idea. They could not agree. They decided to end their argument. They made a bet. This was a common custom in England. Many English people used bets to settle disagreements. The subject of their bet was unusual. The Bank of England had printed 2 special banknotes. Each note was for £1,000,000. These notes were for a big public business deal. The deal was with a foreign country. England used 1 banknote for this deal. The other banknote remained in the bank's vault. It was a very rare and valuable note. Brother A spoke to Brother B. He said, "Imagine an honest and intelligent stranger. He arrives in London. He has no friends here. He has no money. He has only this £1,000,000 banknote. He will starve to death." Brother A believed the huge banknote would be useless for a poor person. No one would be able to change it. He thought the stranger would suffer. Brother B answered. He said, "No, I do not agree with you." Brother B thought the stranger would find a way to survive. He believed human cleverness could overcome such a problem. He had a different view of people's resourcefulness. Brother A argued again. He said if the stranger goes to the bank, the police will put him in prison. If he goes anywhere else to change this big note, the police will also put him in prison. Everyone will think he stole it. Brother A believed that such a large sum of money in the hands of a poor man would only lead to suspicion and arrest. People would not believe his story. They continued their argument for days. They could not reach an agreement. Finally, Brother B made a big offer. He said, "I will bet £30,000. I bet that the stranger will live for 30 days. He will keep the banknote. He will not go to prison. Brother B was very sure of his opinion. He was willing to risk a large sum of money. Brother A accepted the bet. He agreed to the terms. He went to the Bank of England. He bought the £1 million banknote. He used his own funds for this. After that, he returned home. He carefully prepared a letter. He put the letter into an envelope. Then the two brothers sat by the window. They waited for the right person. They needed a specific type of man for their bet. They saw many people with honest faces pass by, but these people were not intelligent enough. They needed someone smart. They saw several people with intelligent faces, but these people were not honest. Honesty was very important for their experiment. Many people were both honest and intelligent, but they were not poor enough. The bet required a truly poor stranger. Other people were honest, intelligent, and poor, but they were not strangers. They knew people in London. The bet needed a man with no connections. When they saw Henry from the window, they observed him carefully. He was trying to get the pear. He looked poor. He seemed honest. He also looked intelligent. They thought he was the right man. They called him into their house. They asked him many questions. Henry told them his life story. He told them about his trip from San Francisco. He told them about his hunger and his struggles. Soon they knew everything about Henry. Finally, they spoke clearly. They told him he was the right man for their bet. Henry asked them to explain the bet. He was very confused. One of the gentlemen gave Henry an envelope. Henry wanted to open it immediately, but the gentleman stopped him. He said, "No, do not open it now. Wait until you are in your hotel room. Then read it very carefully." Henry wanted to talk more about the bet. He wanted to discuss the situation with them, but they did not want to. They seemed unwilling to explain. Henry felt a little offended. He thought they were making fun of him. He did not like being part of a joke. He felt unimportant. When Henry left their house, he looked for the pear. It was no longer there. Someone else had taken it. He felt quite angry with those two gentlemen. He did not like their mysterious game. He walked away from their house. He walked until he was far away. Then he opened the envelope. He saw money inside. He was very surprised. He did not stop to read the letter. He only saw the large sum of money. He felt a sudden rush of joy. His hunger was still strong. Chapter 3. The Incredible Mistake. Henry ran to the nearest restaurant. He was extremely hungry. He ordered a lot of food. He ate and ate and ate until he was full. He ate quickly. He finished his meal. He took out the envelope. He wanted to pay the bill. He looked at the banknote inside. He almost fainted from shock. It was a banknote for £5 million. It was not £1 million as he first thought. It was a huge amount of money. He was completely speechless. He could not utter a single word. He stared at the banknote with wide eyes. He thought the two gentlemen had made a big mistake. A very big, unbelievable mistake. He believed they probably wanted to give him a simple £1 note. They must have picked up the wrong note by accident. He could not comprehend the situation. Henry saw the restaurant owner. The owner was also staring at the banknote. The owner looked just as surprised as Henry. Both of them were in shock. Henry did not know what to do or say. So he simply handed the owner the note. He said, "Give me the change, please." He hoped the owner would be able to handle it. But the owner could not change the banknote. The owner apologized many times. "I am very sorry, sir," the owner said, But I cannot change this banknote. The owner looked nervous. Such a large note was beyond his daily business. He shook his head. He had no way to make change. Henry then said, "I do not have any other money. Please change this note." Henry felt a little worried. He could not pay. The owner then said, "You can pay for this food whenever you want, sir. I understand that you are a very rich gentleman. You like playing jokes on people. You like dressing like a poor man. You can come here and eat all you want. You can come whenever you want. You can pay me when you want." The owner smiled widely. He believed Henry was a wealthy man having fun. He wanted to impress Henry. When Henry left the restaurant, he hurried. He went straight to the house of the two gentlemen. He wanted to correct the mistake they had made. He felt very nervous. His heart was beating fast. He walked quickly through the London streets. He felt a sense of urgency. He knew he had to explain the situation. When he arrived, the same servant opened the door. Henry immediately asked for the two gentlemen. He needed to speak to them right away. The servant said, "They are gone." Henry was confused. "Gone? Gone where?" he asked, his voice full of surprise. The servant answered, "Oh, on a journey." Henry pressed further, but where did they go? He needed more information. "To the continent, I think," the servant replied. Henry repeated, "The continent?" The servant confirmed, "Yes, sir." Henry then asked, "When will they return?" The servant said, "In a month." Henry was very upset. "A month? This is awful. How can I talk to them? It is extremely important." He felt a knot in his stomach. A month was too long to wait. The servant said, "I cannot help you. I do not know where they are, sir." Henry tried another idea. "Then I must see a member of the family." The servant told him, "All the family are away. They are in Egypt and India, I think." Henry felt even more desperate. There was no one he could talk to. He felt completely stuck. Henry explained, "Before leaving, the two gentlemen made an enormous mistake. They will certainly return home tonight. Tell them that I came here. Tell them I came to correct the mistake. I will return tomorrow." He hoped they would come back quickly. He hoped his message would reach them. The servant simply said, "I will tell them if I see them, but I will not see them. Sir, you must not worry. Everything is all right. They will be here on time. They will see you then. Goodbye." The servant closed the door. Henry stood outside, feeling lost. Henry was very confused. His mind felt hazy. He did not understand what the servant told him. He stood there for a moment, trying to process it. Then he remembered the letter. The letter was still inside the envelope. He had not read it. He took it out and opened it. This is what the letter said. "You are an intelligent and honest man. You are also poor. You are a stranger. In this envelope, you will find some money. It is yours only for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, return to this house. I have a bet on you. If I win this bet, you can have any job. You can have any salary that you want." There was no signature. There was no address. There was no date on the letter. It was a very mysterious and intriguing message. "How strange," Henry thought to himself. He did not know what to believe. He went to a nearby park. He sat down on a quiet bench. He thought deeply about what he should do. He spent a full hour thinking. Finally, he made a clear decision. He felt a sense of purpose. He realized the two old gentlemen were playing a game. It was a game he did not understand fully. They were betting on him. But at that time, he did not know the exact details of their bet. He only knew he was a pawn in their plan. He considered his options for the banknote. If he went to the Bank of England to return the banknote, he would face many questions. If he told the truth, no one would believe him. They would think he was mad. They would send him to an asylum. If he told a lie, the police would put him in prison. He could not even give the banknote to anyone. No honest person would accept such a large sum. They would also suspect him of a crime. He could do only one thing. He must keep the bill safe. He must keep it for a whole month. He must not lose it. If he helped the old man win his bet, he would get a job. He would get the job he wanted. He would get a good salary. This was his only path forward. Thinking about an important job with a big salary made him happy. This exciting idea filled his mind. With renewed hope, Henry began walking. He walked down the bustling streets of London. He felt a new strength. He felt ready for this challenge. He knew he had to be careful and clever. Chapter 4. The Transformation at the Tailor's. Every time Henry passed a tailor's shop, he felt a strong desire. He wanted to enter and buy some new clothes. His old clothes were very worn. They were dirty from his long journey. He felt out of place in London. He wanted to look respectable. He wanted to blend in with the other gentlemen of the city. But he had no money to pay for them. The £1 million banknote was in his pocket. It was a huge amount, but it was useless for small purchases. No one could give him change for it. He felt stuck. He had immense wealth, yet he could not buy a simple suit. This situation was frustrating for him. He walked past the same tailor's shop many times. He passed the tailor's shop 6 times. He looked at the beautiful suits in the window. He hesitated each time. He felt shy. He felt worried about how people would treat him. At last, he gathered his courage. He entered the shop. A small bell above the door tinkled softly. A man came forward to greet him. Henry spoke quietly. He asked if they had an old suit, an unattractive suit, a suit that no one wanted to buy. He asked for something very cheap and simple. He just needed new clothes. The man Henry spoke to nodded his head slowly, but he did not speak any words. He just looked at Henry's shabby clothes. Then another man in the shop looked at Henry. This second man also nodded his head. Henry walked over to him. The second man said, "1 moment, please." He then walked away, leaving Henry to wait. Henry stood there, feeling awkward. He wondered if he had made a mistake by entering. After some time, the second man returned. He led Henry to a back room. The room was filled with many clothes. He looked through several suits. They were ugly suits. No one had bought them. The man chose the worst one for Henry. It was truly an old and ill-fitting suit. Henry really wanted a suit, so he said nothing negative. He just wanted to cover his old clothes. He wanted to feel clean. It was time to pay for the suit. Henry spoke carefully. "Can you wait a few days for the money?" he asked the man. He tried to sound calm. "I have not got any small change with me." He hoped the tailor would be understanding. He knew he could not use the large banknote yet. The man looked at Henry with a suspicious expression. The man said, "Oh, you have not? Well, I thought gentlemen like you carried large change." His voice was cold and dismissive. He clearly thought Henry was not a real gentleman. He thought Henry was trying to trick him. Henry felt a pang of annoyance. But he kept his composure. He knew he had the power to change this man's mind. "My friend," Henry replied, his voice firm, "you cannot judge a stranger by the clothes he wears. I can pay for this suit, but can you change a large banknote?" Henry looked directly at the man. He waited for his reaction. He knew the banknote would surprise him. The man's face remained cold. "Oh, of course we can change a large banknote," he said, still sounding doubtful. Henry took out the banknote. He held it carefully. He gave it to the tailor. The tailor received it with a smile. It was a big, wide smile. The smile covered his whole face. He expected a good tip. He thought he was dealing with a rich but eccentric customer. But when he read the banknote, his smile disappeared completely. His face turned pale. He looked utterly shocked. The owner of the shop came over. He had heard the commotion. He asked Henry, "What is the trouble?" He looked concerned. "There is not any trouble," Henry replied calmly. "I am waiting for my change." He stood firm. He knew he had done nothing wrong. The owner looked at the tailor, whose name was Todd. "Come, come, give him his change, Todd, quickly," the owner demanded. He thought Todd was being slow or rude. He wanted to resolve the situation fast. Todd answered, his voice shaky. "It is easy to say, but look at the banknote." Todd showed the owner the £1,000,000 note. The owner looked at the banknote. His eyes grew wide. Then he looked at Henry's small package. The package held the ugly suit. The owner immediately understood. He realized he had made a terrible mistake. He saw the huge value of the note. "Todd!" the owner shouted loudly. "You are stupid! How can you sell this unattractive suit to a millionaire? Todd, you cannot see the difference. You cannot see the difference between a millionaire and a poor man." The owner was furious with Todd. He was also deeply apologetic to Henry. He realized the importance of his customer. "I apologize, sir," the owner continued. He spoke directly to Henry. "Please take off those things you are wearing. Throw them in the fire." He pointed to Henry's old clothes. "Put on this fine shirt. Put on this handsome suit. It is perfect for you. It is simple but elegant." The owner wanted to make amends. He wanted to show Henry respect. He wanted to give him the best clothes. Henry told him he was very happy. He was happy with the new suit. He felt much more comfortable and dignified. "Oh, wait until you see what we can make for you in your size," the owner exclaimed. He was full of enthusiasm. "Todd, bring a pen and a book. Let me measure your leg. Let me measure your arm." The owner began to plan an entire new wardrobe for Henry. He wanted to make many custom-made clothes. Henry did not have a moment to speak a word. The owner was talking so fast. The owner measured Henry carefully. He measured every part of Henry's body. Then he ordered his tailors. He told them to make many clothes. They would make morning suits. They would make evening suits. They would make shirts. They would make coats. They would make many other things for Henry. It was a huge order. "But, my dear sir," Henry said. He tried to interrupt. "I can order all these things only if you change my banknote, or if you can wait a while before I pay you." He wanted to be honest. He explained his financial situation. He did not want them to think he was tricking them.
"Wait a while?" The owner laughed heartily. "I will wait forever. That is the word. Todd, send these things to the gentleman's address. Let the less important customers wait." The owner was completely convinced of Henry's wealth. He was eager to serve him. "What is your address, sir?" the owner asked politely. "I am changing my home," Henry replied. He did not have a fixed address. "I will come back. I will give you my new address." This was a clever way to avoid giving an address. He did not want to lie. "Quite right, sir, quite right," the owner said. He seemed to understand. "Let me show you to the door, sir. Good day, sir. Good day." The owner bowed deeply. Henry left the shop. He wore new clothes. He felt a huge change. The banknote was truly magical. Chapter 5. London's New Celebrity. An impossible thing happened for Henry. He bought everything he wanted. He did it without using his own small money. He simply showed his £1,000,000 banknote. He asked for change, but every time the same thing occurred. No one was able to change it. They all saw the large value. They all thought he was extremely rich. They allowed him to take goods on credit. Henry felt powerful. The banknote was like a special key. It opened many doors for him. He bought all the things he needed. He also bought all the luxuries he desired. He bought expensive suits. He bought fine shoes. He bought beautiful accessories. He ate delicious food. He stayed at a very expensive hotel. The hotel was in Hanover Square. It was a grand place. Henry always ate dinner at the hotel. The dinners were lavish, but he preferred to eat breakfast at Harris's. Harris's was a simple eating place. It was the first place where he ate well with his £1,000,000 note. That is where his journey started. Harris's held a special memory of his early days. The news about Henry and his banknote spread quickly. It was talked about all over London. People discussed it in markets. They discussed it in social gatherings. Everyone knew about the unusual American. Harris's eating place became very famous. It became famous because Henry ate breakfast there. Many new customers came to Harris's. They wanted to see the famous millionaire. Harris was very happy with all his new customers. His business grew much larger. He thanked Henry many times. Henry lived like a rich and important man. He had a way to spend money. He lived in a dream-like state. Every day felt like a fantasy, but often he spoke to himself quietly. He said, "Remember, this dream will end. It will end when the two gentlemen return to London. Everything will change then." He knew his special status was temporary. He had a deadline. He thought about his debts. He planned to pay back every person who had given him credit. His story was in all the newspapers. People read about him daily. Everyone talked about the strange millionaire. They referred to him as the millionaire with the £1,000,000 note in his pocket. Punch magazine printed a funny drawing of him. The drawing was on the front page of their paper. People discussed everything Henry did. They discussed everything he said. They followed him in the streets. He had become a true celebrity. His life was no longer private. Henry kept his old clothes. He did not throw them away. Sometimes he wore them. It was a fun thing to do.
It was amusing when the shop owners first thought he was poor. They would treat him with little respect. Then he showed them the banknote. Oh, how their faces changed! Their expressions shifted from coldness to warmth. It was an interesting social experiment for him. He learned a lot about human nature and money. After 10 days in London, Henry went to visit the American ambassador. The ambassador was very happy to meet Henry. He had heard all the stories. The ambassador invited Henry to a dinner party that evening. He told Henry an interesting fact. He knew Henry's father. They had gone to Yale University together. The ambassador invited Henry to visit his home. Henry could come whenever he wanted. He felt a strong sense of national pride and friendship. Henry was glad to have a new friend, an important friend. He thought to himself, I will need an important friend. I will need one when the story of the £1,000,000 note becomes public. I will need one when the details of the bet are known. He knew the truth would eventually be revealed. He wanted to have powerful people on his side. He wanted to protect his reputation. He felt that having a good network was essential. Henry wanted the reader to know his intentions. He planned to pay back all the shop owners. He planned to pay back everyone who sold him things on credit. If I win the bet for the old gentleman, he thought, I will have an important job. With an important job, I will have a big salary. He planned to repay everyone. He would use his first year's salary. He was an honest man. He believed in keeping his promises. His integrity was very important to him, even in this strange situation. Chapter 6: A Night of Love and Friendship. There were 14 people at the dinner party. The American ambassador was the host. Many important guests arrived. The Duke of Shoreditch and the Duchess of Shoreditch attended. Their daughter, Lady Anne Grace Eleanor de Bohun, was also there. The Earl and Countess of Newgate came. Viscount Cheapside was present. Lord and Lady Blaverskite joined. The ambassador and his wife and daughter were there too. Some other distinguished people completed the group. It was a very high-class gathering. There was also a beautiful young English girl. Her name was Portia Langham. She was 22 years old. Henry saw her. He fell in love with her in just 2 minutes. Her eyes sparkled. Her smile was warm. She also fell in love with him quickly. They felt an instant connection. It was a surprising and wonderful feeling for Henry. He had never felt this way before. After some time, the house servant announced another guest. It was Mr. Lloyd Hastings. When Mr. Hastings saw Henry, he spoke. He said, "I think I know you." Henry smiled. "Yes, you probably do," he replied. He knew his face was becoming famous. Mr. Hastings then hesitated. "Are you the... He searched for the right words, clearly trying to recall. Henry completed the sentence for him. "Yes, I am the strange millionaire with the £1,000,000 note in his pocket," he said with a laugh. Mr. Hastings was very surprised. "Well, well, this is a surprise," he said. "I never thought you were the same Henry Adams from San Francisco." He could not believe the change in Henry's life. "6 months ago, you were working in the offices of Blake Hopkins in San Francisco. I remember clearly. You had a very small salary. And at night, you helped me arrange the papers for the Gold and Curry Mining Company. Now you are a millionaire. You are a celebrity here in London. I cannot believe it. How exciting!" Lloyd was genuinely amazed by Henry's transformation. "I cannot believe it either, Lloyd," Henry said. He too was still processing his new reality. "Just 3 months ago we went to the Miners' Restaurant." Lloyd quickly corrected him. No, it was the What Cheer restaurant." Henry acknowledged the correction. "Right, it was the What Cheer. We went there at 2 o'clock in the morning. We had steak and coffee. That night we worked for 6 long hours. We worked on the Gold and Curry Mining Company papers. Do you remember, Henry? I asked you to come to London with me. I wanted you to help me sell the Gold and Curry gold mine shares. But you refused." Lloyd remembered the offer clearly. "Of course I remember," Henry said. "I did not want to leave my job in San Francisco. And I still think it is difficult to sell shares of a California gold mine here in London." Henry had been happy with his old life. He had doubted the success of Lloyd's venture. Lloyd looked sad. "You were right, Henry. You were so right. It is impossible to sell these shares here in London. My plan failed. I spent all my money. I do not want to talk about it." Lloyd's voice was full of despair. He had lost everything.
"But you must talk about it," Henry insisted gently. "When we leave the dinner party, you must tell me what happened." Henry offered his support as a true friend. "Oh, can I?" Lloyd asked, tears forming in his eyes. He looked very distressed. "I really need to talk to a friend," he cried. "Yes, I want to hear the whole story," Henry said. "Every word of it." He wanted to provide comfort. "Thank you, Henry. You are a true friend." Lloyd felt a glimmer of hope. At this point, it was announced that dinner was ready. But there was no actual dinner. This was due to the English system of precedence. The Duke of Shoreditch wanted to sit at the head of the table. The American ambassador also wanted to sit at the head of the table. Both felt they had the highest rank. It was impossible for them to agree, so the dinner was cancelled. Everyone remained hungry. It was a very strange custom for foreign guests. English people knew about the system of precedence. They often ate dinner before going to formal dinners. But strangers like Henry knew nothing about it. They stayed hungry all evening. Instead of a large meal, they received a small dish of sardines. They also had one strawberry. It was a very light supper. Now it was time for everyone to play a game. The game was called cribbage. The English never played a game just for fun. They played to win something or to lose something. They loved the competition. Miss Langham and Henry played the game, but they had little interest in it. Henry looked at her beautiful face. He leaned closer to her. He said softly, "Miss Langham, I love you." He felt a rush of strong emotion. She looked at him with gentle eyes. She smiled. "Mr. Adams, I love you too." It was a truly magical moment for both of them. Their hearts felt full. This was a wonderful evening for Henry and Portia. They were very happy. They smiled They laughed. They talked for a long time. Henry was completely honest with her. He told her his real situation. He told her that he was poor. He said he did not have any money in the world. He explained that the £1,000,000 note was not truly his. She was very curious. He told her the whole story from the beginning. He told her about the bet and the gentleman. She listened and laughed. She thought the story was very funny. Henry did not understand why she found it funny. He also explained that he needed an important job. He needed a big salary. He needed it to pay all his many debts. "Portia, dear," Henry asked her, "can you come with me on the day I must meet those two gentlemen?" He wanted her support and presence. "Well, yes, if I can help you," she replied. She was eager to assist him. "Of course you can help me," Henry said. "You are so lovely. When the two gentlemen see you, I can ask for any job. I can ask for any salary. With you there, my sweet Portia, the two gentlemen will not refuse me anything." Henry believed her beauty and charm would be his greatest advantage. He felt very hopeful with her. Chapter 7. The Gold Mine Opportunity. At the end of the dinner party, Henry returned to his hotel. Lloyd Hastings walked with him. Lloyd talked continuously about his problems. He spoke all the way to the hotel. But Henry did not listen. His mind was elsewhere. He was thinking only about Portia. Her face filled his thoughts. Her words echoed in his head. He was completely enchanted. When they arrived at the hotel, Lloyd stopped. He looked around the grand lobby. He spoke, his voice filled with awe. "Let me just stand here," he said. "Let me look at this marvelous hotel. It is a palace. What expensive furniture! You have everything you want. You are rich, Henry, and I am poor." Lloyd sounded very envious. He was deeply impressed by Henry's luxurious lifestyle. Lloyd's words startled Henry. Henry knew the truth. He also was poor. He did not have a single coin in his pocket. He had many debts to pay. He desperately needed to win the gentleman's bet. This was his last chance. If he failed, he would have nothing. Lloyd did not know Henry's secret. He truly believed Henry was wealthy. "Henry," Lloyd cried out. His voice full of desperation. Just a tiny part of your income can save me. I am desperate. Lloyd looked at Henry with pleading eyes. He was truly at his wits' end. Henry felt pity for his friend. He wanted to help him. He knew he had to think of a smart plan.
"My dear Hastings," Henry said kindly. He gestured to a comfortable chair. "Sit down here. Drink this hot whiskey." He offered his friend comfort and warmth. "Now, tell me your whole story, every word of it." Henry wanted to listen carefully this time. He wanted to understand every detail of Lloyd's problem. He knew he had been too distracted earlier. "Do you want to hear my story again?" Lloyd asked, looking confused. Henry replied, "But you never told me my story." He genuinely did not remember hearing it. Lloyd looked surprised. "Of course I told you my story. We talked as we walked to the hotel. Do you not remember?" He seemed bewildered by Henry's forgetfulness.
"Henry, are you ill?" Lloyd asked, concern in his voice. "Is something wrong with you? What did you drink at the dinner party?" Lloyd thought Henry might be sick or unwell. Henry smiled softly. "Oh, Hastings, I am in love," he confessed. "I can only think about my sweet Portia. This is why I did not hear your story before." Henry finally explained his distraction. He was completely captivated by Portia. Lloyd got up from his chair. He shook Henry's hand firmly. He laughed with understanding. "I am very happy for you, Henry, very happy," he said, smiling. "I will tell you the whole story again." So he sat back down. He patiently began to tell Henry his story from the start. Lloyd was a good and understanding friend. He was willing to repeat everything for Henry.
To make a long story short, the owners of the Gould and Curry gold mine sent Lloyd to England. They sent him to sell the shares of the mine. They wanted £1 million for all the shares. Any money he received over £1 million was his to keep. Lloyd's dream was very big. He wanted to sell the shares for much more than £1 million. He wanted to become truly rich. He had only 1 month to sell the shares. He had tried everything possible, but nobody in London wanted to buy them. His time was almost up. He faced financial ruin. Then Lloyd jumped up from his chair. He cried, "Henry, you can help me. Will you do it? he looked at Henry with desperate hope. He believed Henry was his only chance. Henry did not know what to say immediately. He wanted to tell Lloyd the truth. He had no money. "Tell me how," Henry said, inviting Lloyd to explain his idea. "Give me £1,000,000. I will sell you all the shares. You will be the new owner of the gold mine. Do not refuse," Lloyd was pleading. He thought Henry's money was the solution. Henry hesitated. He wanted to tell Lloyd that he did not have any money. But then a clever idea came to his mind. He thought about it for a moment. He considered his fame in London. He considered the power of the banknote. Then he calmly said, "I will save you, Lloyd." Lloyd's face lit up with joy. "Then I am already saved. How can I thank you?" Lloyd started to speak quickly, full of gratitude. "Let me finish, Lloyd," Henry interrupted gently. He needed to explain his entire plan. "I will save you, but not in that way. I have a better way. I know everything about that mine. I know its great value. You will sell the shares by using my name. You can send anyone to me. People in London know me very well. I will guarantee the gold mine. In a week or two, you will sell the shares for £3 million. You will use my name, and we will share the money you earn. Half to you and half to me." Henry's plan was ingenious. It used his current celebrity status to make a fortune for both of them. Lloyd was incredibly happy. He was very excited. He danced around the room. He laughed with pure joy. "I can use your name," he shouted. "Your name. Think of it. The rich Londoners will run to buy these shares. I am saved, and I will never forget you, Henry." Lloyd was overwhelmed with thankfulness. He knew Henry's reputation would make the shares sell out quickly. They had found a path to wealth together. Chapter 8. A Fortunate Union. The next day, all of London talked about the shares. They talked about the California gold mine. News traveled quickly through the city.
People heard that the famous millionaire with the £1,000,000 note was involved. Henry stayed in his hotel. Many people came to visit him. They wanted to ask about the gold mine. Henry spoke to everyone. He said, "Yes, I know Mr. Hastings. He is a very honest man. And I know the gold mine. I lived in the California gold country. It is a mine of great value." Henry's words were powerful. People trusted him. They became very interested in buying the shares. Henry spent every evening with Portia. They were at the American ambassador's house. They enjoyed each other's company. Henry did not tell her about the shares. He did not tell her about the mine. It was a special surprise for her. They talked about their love. They talked about their future together. They made many plans. They dreamed of a happy life. Henry felt deeply connected to Portia. Finally, the end of the month arrived. 30 days had passed quickly. Many rich Londoners bought the shares of the mine. The sales were very successful. Henry now had £1,000,000 of his own money. The money was deposited in the London and County Bank. Lloyd also had £1,000,000. They both became truly wealthy men. Henry had not only won the bet, but also secured his own financial future. It was time for Henry to meet the two old gentlemen. He dressed in his finest clothes. He wanted to look his best. He went to pick up Portia. She looked beautiful and elegant. Before going to Portland Place, Portia and Henry talked. They discussed the job. They discussed the salary. Henry still planned to ask for a good position. "Portia, you are so beautiful," Henry said to her. "When the two gentlemen meet you, they will give me any job. They will give me any salary I ask for." He believed her presence would soften their hearts. Portia looked at him, her eyes serious. "Henry, please remember," she said, "if we ask for too much, we will get nothing. Then what will happen to us?" She was wise and cautious. She wanted him to be careful. "Do not be afraid, Portia," Henry said, reassuring her. He felt confident with her by his side. When they arrived at the house, the same servant opened the door. He recognized Henry. He led them inside. The two
old gentlemen were there. They were having tea. They looked very surprised to see Portia. Henry introduced her to them. He said, "Gentlemen, this is Miss Portia Langham." They greeted her politely. Then Henry spoke to the gentleman. "Gentlemen, I am ready to report to you." He stood tall and confident. One gentleman spoke. "We are pleased to hear this," he said. "Now we can decide the bet that my brother Abel and I made. If you won for me, you can have any job in my power. Do you have the £1,000,000 note?" He looked at Henry with anticipation. "Here it is, sir," Henry said. He took out the banknote. He gave it to the gentleman. The gentleman held it in his hand. "I won!" he shouted with joy. "Now what do you say, Abel?" he asked his brother. Abel looked disappointed. "I say he survived," Abel replied, "and I lost £20,000. I cannot believe it." Abel shook his head. He had lost the bet, but he was also amazed by Henry's success. "I have more to tell you," Henry said, a small smile on his face. "But it is a long story. I will tell you another time. For now, look at this." Henry presented another document. It was a certificate. "What? A certificate of deposit for £200,000? Is it yours?" the gentleman asked, his eyes wide with surprise. "It is mine," Henry confirmed proudly. "I earned it. I used the banknote you lent me for a month." Henry had turned the opportunity into a real fortune. "This is astonishing," the gentleman said. "I cannot believe it." He was truly amazed by Henry's business skills. Portia looked at Henry with surprise. "Henry," she said, "is that really your money? You did not tell me the truth." She felt a little betrayed. Henry replied, "No, I did not, but I know you will forgive me." He hoped she would understand his reasons. "Do not be so sure," she said, her voice firm. "You told me a lie, Henry." She still felt hurt. Henry gently said, "Dearest Portia, it was only for fun. Come, let us go now." He tried to lighten the mood. "But wait, the gentleman said, stopping them. "I want to give you the job. I want to give you the salary you choose." He still wanted to honor his promise. Thank you with all my heart," Henry said, "but I do not want the job." He no longer needed a job from them. Portia looked at Henry. "Henry, you did not thank the good gentleman in the right way. Can I do it for you?" she asked, a mischievous glint in her eye. Henry smiled.
Of course you can, my dear. He knew she had something planned. Portia walked to Henry's gentleman. She sat on his lap. She kissed him on the mouth. The two old gentlemen shouted in surprise. Then they laughed loudly. Henry was completely amazed. What was happening? He did not understand this strange behavior. Portia then spoke. "Papa," she said, "Henry does not want your job. I feel very hurt." Henry's eyes widened in shock. He looked at Portia, then at the gentleman.
"Darling, is that your father?" Henry asked, his voice full of disbelief. "Yes, he is my stepfather," Portia said, smiling. "He is a dear man. Now do you understand why I laughed when you told me your story?" Henry finally understood everything. The whole complex situation made perfect sense now. He felt a little foolish, but also incredibly happy. "My dearest sir," Henry said to Portia's stepfather, "I want to take back what I said. There is a job that I want." He had a new request. "Tell me," the gentleman said, eager to hear. "I want the job of son-in-law," Henry replied, looking at Portia. The gentleman laughed heartily. "Well, well, well, but you were never a son-in-law before. Do you know how to do this job?" he teased. Henry answered, "Try me, please. Try me for 30 or 40 years, and if—" The gentleman interrupted him with a joyful laugh. "Oh, all right, take her," he said. He gave his full blessing. Were Portia and Henry happy? There are not enough words in the dictionary to describe their happiness. They were truly overjoyed. When the Londoners heard the whole story, they heard about Henry's adventures with the banknote. They talked of nothing else. It was a wonderful and famous story. Everyone loved it. Portia's father took the banknote back. He took it to the Bank of England. He cashed it. Then he gave Henry and Portia the cancelled banknote. It was a special wedding present. It was a reminder of their unique story. They put it in a picture frame. They hung it on the wall. It was in their new home. It was a symbol of their incredible journey. And so Henry always says, yes, it is £1 million banknote. But it's only bought one thing in its life. It bought the most valuable thing in the world. It bought Portia. Henry knew that love was the greatest treasure of all.